Hey fam, I want you to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Roland S. Martin. And don't forget to turn on your notifications.
New Jersey Senator and presidential candidate Cory Booker is frustrated with the conversation around reparations. He tweeted yesterday, "I've been unapologetic in my belief that this just can't be about acknowledging the past. It needs to be about actually confronting racist policy that persists right now in the present. Because if we don't, we cannot guarantee that our future will be any different than our past." His comment, by the way, echoes what the Pew poll found. 50% of African Americans think we will never have equal rights in America. Today, Booker introduced a bill to form a commission to explore reparations. The bill is a companion to a House bill introduced by Representative Sheila Jackson Lee of Texas. Her bill was a bill that to take off of H.R. 40, which was first introduced to Congress by Detroit Congressman John Conyers in 1989. And Clea, I'm going to go to you first because H.R. 40 since 1989, and this right into your self-hate crime. How come all the Congressional Black Caucus have not signed H.R. 40?
That was a rhetorical question, wasn't it, Dr. And I'm relieved that you asked me this question when there's not a member of Congress sitting right next to me as it was last week. And I want to be respectful and honor the intentionality among the Congressional Black Caucus. But the bottom line is people in this society have been taught to assimilate and integrate and try to bring blackness into whiteness instead of recreating it in ways that affirm black people because they don't want to offend white people. Anybody who's afraid to talk about reparations, which is a clear case to break down in terms of its necessity, is afraid to offend white people. It's kind of like when you hear black people, grown black people say, "Today a white girl at my job did so-and-so." Some of them go, "Reparations." You know, they whisper it because they don't want to offend the invisible white person that's nowhere around because they're in our psyche. And it does go back to self-hate crime residual effect. From my perspective. I know that sounds serious, but black folks in Congress, why wouldn't you support reparations? I mean, John Conyers broke down, and Dr. Malveaux has broken down in no uncertain terms the legitimacy of it. Even Ta-Nehisi Coates. That brother, whose name I don't want to mess up anymore, who wrote the piece in Atlanta.
Oh, that was a brilliant piece.
Absolutely brilliant. Backed up with statistics and data that justified the importance and legitimacy of reparations. Why don't you, members of Congress, go get that, borrow a copy of that? Because the question is, why haven't you said anything? And why are we waiting for people to run for president?
For it to come up.
For it to come up.
Well, we even have white members of Congress, Jerry Nadler is one, who have endorsed H.R. 40, but we have many of us, African Americans, who have not. But, this is a historic first because the legislation has been pending since 1989, never having enough co-sponsors, never coming to a vote. But this is the first time that it's been introduced on the Senate side. Yeah. So now there's a companion bill. So that's very powerful, which would not have happened if there were not African Americans in the United States Senate. Malik, well, I know you got something to say, because you always have something to say.
I would probably say that we may not have it now had Cory Booker not been running for president. As far as the discussion of reparations, if people want to form a committee to study it, I think that's fine. What I think where I would channel my efforts are really looking at the things, whether it's the Bush administration, Obama administration, or even the current administration, the steps that they've taken, look at it from a policy perspective. So things that we know where there are disparities in the system, try to adjust it from that end. I don't know, maybe we will. I don't know if we'll ever have, well, no, we'll never have full agreement on reparations. And because you'll have people, even on my side, to say, well, I didn't do it, I didn't own slaves.
Yeah, but you institutionally benefited from, no, you didn't own enslaved people. White folks who are watching, no, we know you didn't have any slaves.
Right.
We think you didn't, you might have. But the bottom line is, if you created a racist society that has disproportionately benefits one group of people as opposed to another, that's the argument for reparations right there.
And I don't want people to think, because I've seen it. When I was a Democrat back during George Bush's administration, I followed the things that they were doing.
Now, what happened to you? Did they pop you on your head or something? No, we're not going to talk about it.
He got tired of the Democratic Party taking black people for granted, among other things.
Well, that's reasonable.
Yeah, it is reasonable.
But I look at those things. The federal government has taken steps to address these sort of disparities. Local governments have taken steps to address these sort of disparities. Of course, we still are where we are. But I think that a real keen focus on policy and making sure that we're doing things to address these problems. And it requires not just Republicans. I mean, we just had the conversation about D.C. being the largest, having the largest concentration of gentrification or whatever that is. This is pretty global as far as the United States is concerned, and we need to really. And I would challenge my Democrat friends. Challenge your local politicians. Don't just allow these politicians in our areas to, around campaign season, to come and talk about, crime is this, I'll fix that.
Okay, in full disclosure, let me let y'all know that I am a member of the National African American Reparations Commission that was founded by Dr. Ron Daniels and the Institute of the Black World. We've been meeting over the course of the last 5 years really to bring this issue up. Many folks don't even, like you said, whisper reparations. Right. But you're going to get the last word on this subject, Cleo.
I was going to say that I hope that this gift from Trump, I think the gift is from Trump that we're talking about reparations, frankly, that we've gone this extreme because it's considered extreme. But I want to say that I hope it has the effect, but with more meat to it, that what happened when Iowa, was it Iowa that supported Obama and then black folks jumped aboard?
Iowa.
It was, because members of Congress, to make my point really quickly, members of Congress, black members of Congress, were running behind Hillary Clinton, and even the brother from Georgia, John Lewis was right there behind Hillary Clinton. But then when white folks in Iowa said it was all right, it validated him, and then and Lewis literally said, I changed my mind in front of everybody because it became safer to do it. Hopefully it'll become safer to talk about reparations among the congressional membership black folks, and they can say it out loud now in front of everybody and manifest it into being now that it's being talked about by Mr. Booker and a white woman that you just mentioned, whose name I forgot.
I forgot to. But let me say this. The ACLU actually is starting a blog series on reparations. I got the American Civil Liberties Union. I got an email from them this morning. Dr. Daniels said, will you write a piece? So they're asking many of our NARC members to write. So the ACLU sees itself as having a role in dealing with this. And so the issue has become somewhat more popularized. Now the gift is to learn history. Because we don't know history and we deny history, and that becomes a gift.
All right, folks, back to that Roland Mark Unfiltered video in just one moment.
Calling all HBCU alumni, students, and leaders. Enter the Ford Motor Company HBCU Mobility Challenge and win $25,000 for your school. Building on their long-term support of HBCUs, Ford is looking to improve in HBCU communities through innovative solutions. The winning program will receive a grant of up to $25,000 to implement their proposal. The deadline to apply has been extended to April 15, 2019. Go to FGB.Life for more information and to apply. Ford goes further in our community.
Now back to your Roland Martin Unfiltered video.